want to ask any question, so they can raise hand while lecture is being recorded. This is a question from the chapter Income from Salary. Mr. X is an employee of ABC company and he is living in a house for which the monthly rent is 50,000 rupees per month. And but his employer is paying half rent, 25,000 rupees. Total rent is 50,000, but the employer is paying 25,000 per month to his employee as a rent. And all other emoluments are the same. For example, basic salary 2 lakh per month, bonus 3 lakh per year आ जाएगा, convenience allowance is 30,000 per month. We have to calculate what will be his taxable salary. So taxation purpose के लिए we always make calculation on an annual basis. So we will calculate what is the total annual income of Mr. X in this question. Annual income. We have to calculate annual income. How we will calculate annual income? Annual income will be recorded in this way. You can see on the screen. Value of accommodation. As we have studied के basic salary का 45% हमने लेना होता है. We have to take 45% of the basic salary. So basic salary is 200,000 per month. So it means per year is 24 lakh. 24 lakh का अगर we will take 45%, so this would be 10 lakh 80,000. 10 lakh 80,000. On the other hand, the fair market value of the house, the rent is 50,000 rupees per month. If we multiply 50,000 multiplied by 12, so that will be 6 lakh. एक साइड पे 6 लाख है और एक साइड पे 10 lakh 80,000. The taxation purpose we will take the amount whichever is higher, either 45% of the basic salary or rent of the house. Whichever is higher, we will include that in income from salary for taxation purpose. So you can see the value of accommodation is here. Ten lakh 80,000. Basic salary is 24 lakh, bonus 3 lakh, value of accommodation 10 lakh 80,000, and conveyance allowance is 3 lakh 60,000. तो अगर हम इसको ऐड करें 24 lakh plus 3 lakh 27 lakh, 27 lakh plus 10 lakh 3780 plus 3 lakh 60,000. This would be 30 lakh 40,000. Now see the question here. $25,000 is employer agreed to pay 25,000 for his rent and converted into an accommodation. It means कि 25,000 का जो multiply by, if we multiply it by 12, it would be 300,000, 3 lakh. So 10 lakh 80,000 minus 3 lakh, here it should be 7 lakh 80,000. तो अगर इसको हम टोटल करें 3 3 6 54 13 exactly. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ये you can say this is a error, this is a misprint and typing. The book error in the book. Here it should be 7 lakh and 80,000 because we have to minus 300,000 that is being paid by the employer and the remaining 25,000 is being paid by the employee. Total आ जाएगा 38 lakh 40,000. इसको हम include करेंगे total salary income. This is the 3840. इसी तरह से for income from salary, any utilities and services of domestic servants. अगर कोई सर्वेंट प्रोवाइड किए कंपनी ने, डोमेस्टिक सर्वेंट दैट कैन बी हाउसकीपर, गार्डनर, ड्राइवर, डोमेस्टिक असिस्टेंट, कोई भी इस तरह का एम्प्लॉय सर्वेंट है तो उसकी जो सैलरी है दैट वुड आल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड इन द इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी फॉर टैक्सेशन पर्पस, बिकॉज एम्प्लॉय को उसका बेनिफिट हो रहा है ना, तो एनी बेनिफिट दैट इज बीइंग ग्रांटेड बाय एम्प्लॉयर द कंपनी दैट शुड बी इंक्लूडेड इन इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी. Similarly, interest-free or concessional loan, if the company has provided some interest-free loan, उसका भी जो benefit है, जो interest की जो बचत हो रही है, that would also be included in income from salary for taxation purpose. लेकिन if the loan amount is less than 10 lakh, अगर 1 million से loan कम है, तो ये provision apply नहीं होगी, इसका मतलब है कि उसको include नहीं करेंगे हम for taxation purpose. और जहाँ पे रेट जो है वो बेंचमार्क रेट इज 10%, तो 10% से जो डिफरेंस होगा दैट वुड बी इंक्लूडेड इन इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ द कंपनी हैज प्रोवाइडेड लोन एट 2%, 2% तो वो इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहा है लोन के ऊपर, तो बाकी जो 8% का बेनिफिट है दैट वुड बी इंक्लूडेड इन इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी फॉर टैक्सेशन पर्पस. Again, the practice question we can see on the screen. Mr. A is granted a loan of 15 lakh rupees by his employer. The loan is subject to 2% per annum. Tax treatment क्या होगा? Compute the amount of perquisite relevant to the interest for the tax year 2026. 150,000, 15 lakh का 10% बन जाएगा 150, और 2% का उसको बेनिफिट मतलब इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहा है, तो जो उसको बेनिफिट अब 8% का मिल गया, तो हम ये 2% इसमें से माइनस करेंगे 30,000, तो फाइनली it would be 1,20,000. It means 1,20,000 should be added in income from salary for taxation purpose. ये ऐड होगा इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी में 1,20,000 है. इस तरह से कोई भी सेटलमेंट और चीजें अगर एम्प्लॉयर पे कर रहा है तो वो भी ऐड हो जाएगा इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी. ग्रेचुटी के केस में भी, इफ द ग्रेचुटी स्कीम इज अप्रूव्ड बाय द बोर्ड दैट इज एग्जाम्प्ट अप टू 300,000, और गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज के लिए और ग्रेचुटी फंड अप्रूव्ड बाय द कमिश्नर इनलैंड रेवेन्यू तो फुली एग्जाम्प्ट है. कमिश्नर से अगर अप्रूवल ले लिया तो फुली एग्जाम्प्ट है, अगर बोर्ड से है तो एग्जाम्प्ट अप टू 300,000, अगर अनअप्रूव्ड है तो सिर्फ कितनी माफी है, टू 75,000 और 50% अमाउंट receivable whichever is lower. यहाँ पे remember whenever generally whenever there is a discussion of exemption और टैक्स रिडक्शन या टैक्स में कमी होगी, तो वहां पे जनरली डिपार्टमेंट सेज whichever is less, whichever is lower. And on the other hand, whenever there is an issue of टैक्स इम्पोज करने की जहां बात होगी, टैक्स लग रहा होगा, वहां पे विद से whichever is higher. So unapproved के केस में exempt up to 75,000 or 50% of the amount receivable, whichever is lower. Pension we have already discussed it in the class. Pension पे exemption है. If from this year 10 million से ज्यादा जिसकी पेंशन होगी, the 5% of the amount exceeding 1 million टैक्स लग गया, यानी कि 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा की जो अमाउंट होगी उस पे 5% is the tax rate. But then if the recipient is over 70 years old, then fully exempt, then there is no taxation on pension if the age is more than 70 years.
इट मीन्स कि सर अगर उसकी 10 मिलियन से ज्यादा है फिर भी उसको एग्जम्प्ट होगा.
If the pensioner is receiving pension more than 10 million, but the age is more than 70 years, then there is no tax on that pension. अगर एज उसकी 70 से ज्यादा हो गई है तो फिर उसके ऊपर कोई भी टैक्स नहीं लगेगा उसकी पेंशन पे। अगर 70 से कम है, तो अगर 10 मिलियन से ज्यादा पेंशन है, देन द टैक्स रेट वुड बी अप्लाइड ऑन दैट पेंशन।
ओके सर।
After now, the important topic is Provident Fund. So it is important to learn the concept of Provident Fund and how the tax is levied or Provident Fund. The Provident Fund is categorized into three categories: Government Provident Fund, Recognized Provident Fund, and Unrecognized Provident Fund. You can see the table on the screen. First is employees contribution. Employees contribution means that, for example, 10,000 is deducted every month from a salary and is submitted as a share of Provident Fund. Provident Fund hota kya? Provident Fund means generally employee gets amount at the end of the service or after a few years of the service, they can withdraw this amount of Provident Fund. For example, some companies allow withdrawal of Provident Fund for the if they have some emergency health issue, or you can say they have to do they have to be at the expense of wedding ceremony of their kids or anyone in a family, or they have to construct a house. For some reasons, companies allow withdrawal of provident fund by the companies. Like in most of the time, people get this amount of provident fund at the end of their service. After 10 years, 20 years, whenever they leave the organization, they get this provident fund. अच्छा, अब इसमें employees, there are two portions: employees contribution and employers contribution. Generally, the same amount is being deducted by employee's salary, and the same amount is deposited by employer in this provident fund. Employee और employer दोनों contribute करते हैं, and then that amount is being submitted in some fund, and that is called provident fund. For example, 12,000 is deducted from employee's salary as a provident fund. So similarly, 12,000 will also be provided by employer, by company, for the provident fund of that employee. So employee contribution पे आ रहा है कि there would be no treatment of taxation here. Employees contribution का कोई treatment नहीं करेंगे हम, no treatment recognized, unrecognized और government के केस में. Employers contribution के केस में government provident fund is exempt, and in the case of recognized provident fund, that is recognized by commissioner income tax, commissioner tax से अगर वो उसको कराया प्रूफ, तो उसके ऊपर exemption है up to 1,50,000 or 1/10 of the basic salary, whichever is lower. So exemption would be limited up to 1,50,000 or 1/10 of basic salary, whichever is lower. And unrecognized provident fund case में there is no treatment. Interest credited during the year. Generally, the provident fund of a company is invested somewhere. For example, a company has 600 billion rupees as a fund of provident fund. So that fund is generally deposited in some bank account, saving account, or mutual fund, or any financial institution. So on that investment of provident fund, company earns some interest or markup or profit. So उसके ऊपर भी टैक्स लगता है फिर ना, क्योंकि इनकम है. लेकिन गवर्नमेंट प्रोविडेंट फंड केस में एग्जम्प्ट है, and in the case of recognized provident fund, it is exempt higher of 16% of interest rate on accumulated balance or 1/3 of the salary. इन दोनों में देखा जाएगा whichever is higher, वो अमाउंट एग्जम्प्ट होगी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड प्रोविडेंट फंड के केस में, एंड अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड फंड के केस में देयर वुड बी no treatment. This is the interest, this is the profit that is earned by the company on the total sum of provident fund. Payment of accumulated balances. It means when a person is completing his term of service for 25 years and is getting retirement from a company, एक्यूमुलेटेड बैलेंस एंड पे जो बैलेंस मिलेगा उस वक्त क्या टैक्स ट्रीटमेंट होगा। गवर्नमेंट प्रोविडेंट फंड के केस में भी एग्जाम, रिकॉग्नाइज के केस में भी एग्जाम, जहां पे अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड होगा वहां पे एग्जाम्पशन नहीं होगी। ओनली द एम्प्लॉयर्स कंट्रीब्यूशन एंड द इंटरेस्ट ऑन एक्यूमुलेटेड बैलेंस इज टैक्सेबल इन द ईयर ऑफ रिसीट। तो एम्प्लॉयर्स कंट्रीब्यूशन तमाम, the total contribution has been provided by the company, by the employer, and the interest earned on that balance, इसका जो टोटल बैलेंस होगा उसको पे टैक्स लगेगा एंड दैट वुड बी टैक्सेबल इन द ईयर ऑफ रिसीट। रिमेंबर के इफ वी कंसीडर दीज थ्री कैटेगरीज, गवर्नमेंट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड, तो सबसे ज्यादा टैक्स बर्डन किस कैटेगरी पे पड़ेगा? द हाईएस्ट बर्डन ऑफ टैक्स will be on unrecognized provident fund, because you can see that there is no treatment on here annually, but when employee will get annual lump sum amount, when employee will get a balance at the end, for example 9 million, 90 lakh rupees, if employee is getting in the year 2026 maybe, तो देखें जब 9 मिलियन होगा तो उसकी ओवरऑल टैक्स ब्रैकेट किस स्लैब में चली जाएगी, so that he has to pay a very high rate of tax on that 9 billion. It can be 35% or more than 35% if we include surcharge and kind of super taxes. Tax rate बहुत high हो जाएगा in case of unrecognized provident fund when they are getting accumulated balance. And the benefit for government provident fund and the recognized provident fund is they are exempt when they are getting lump sum or a huge amount at the end of their service. तो 9 मिलियन 90 लाख का इकट्ठा मिलेगा इन केस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट फंड और रिकॉग्नाइज्ड प्रोविडेंट फंड, उस इंडिविजुअल की टैक्स ब्रैकेट चेंज नहीं होगी, उसको हाई टैक्स रेट नहीं लगेगा, बिकॉज हेयर द अमाउंट द अक्यूमुलेटेड बैलेंस, फॉर एग्जांपल 90 लाख रुपीस हेयर, दैट वुड बी एग्जम्प्ट। तो रिकॉग्नाइज्ड प्रोविडेंट फंड के केस में भी बेनिफिट है एंड गवर्नमेंट प्रोविडेंट फंड के केस में भी वी हैव अ exemption, we have a tax benefit. But if the provident fund is not recognized, it is unrecognized, so high tax rate would be applied when they will get lump sum or the accumulated balance at the end of their service. So this is the concept of provident fund, and this is the tax treatment of provident fund, government provident fund recognized and unrecognized. इसी तरह से अदर फंड्स, बेनेवलेंट फंड का भी is exempt from tax. Benevolent fund जो है देखें, this is exempt from the tax.